obsess over specific climbing projects the way some other climbers do, and I've obsessed less and less about it as I've gotten older, I think. 5 or 10 years ago, I definitely was more obsessed, like, oh, and then I'll stick the undercling and I'll grab it so hard. You know, now I'm kind of like, oh, it'd be great to climb the route, but I'm not, like, quite as invested in it, maybe. But certainly, like, for the right kind of project, I get pretty deep into it. You know, you get really psyched.
The Western Cape probably has some of the hardest big wall routes in Southern Africa. Way out there, huge exposure in the Cape Fold Mountains. The rock quality is superb and it's lovely, it's wild, it's magnificent.
Yellowwood is considered a big tradition. Climbing, no bolts, you know, lots of big adventures like up this wall. But for me, it was super fun to follow a line of bolts straight through the steepest, most impressive climbing. And I was like, this is awesome. I do not care about ethics. I don't really care about bolting. I mean, I guess I care a tiny bit because if I see someone bolt a line that could easily be climbed on gear, I'm kind of like, that's a little lame. You may as well have just done it on gear. But I don't really care that much. You know, like, I love clipping bolts. I love sport climbing. I like ease of use. I like convenience. You know, I just like climbing a lot of stuff. And I just don't really buy into all the ethics. You know, I don't like the dogmatic approach to climbing with like, oh, here's how you have to do it. People argue that something shouldn't be bolted, it should be done on gear. But, you know, why not just argue that you shouldn't do it on gear, you should just solo it. You know, it's like, whatever, either way, you're just climbing it. It's like, who decides the rules? You know, I don't know. I just like to climb stuff. Climbing something on bolts is low commitment, it's fun, it's casual, and you're like, oh great, you can enjoy the movement, you just enjoy the climbing. Climbing it on gear is normally, or it's often a little more heads up, it's a little more psychologically demanding, so you put a little more into it, so then you get a little more out of it, I guess, which is probably why so many traditionalists are like so anti-bolt, because they want people to have that adventure, they want them to have that like climbing experience. But then when you solo stuff, you get even more of that climbing experience, and you know, more of that challenge and more of the reward, I guess. The thing with Newborn was that it was a nice route up like a nice part of the wall, really good climbing, but it was so cold that like it was hard to properly appreciate. Like my fingers were numb, my feet were numb. I felt like I was just gonna shoot off all the holds because my fingers felt so like glassy. And you know, so I mean it's hard to be like, oh what a beautiful route up, beautiful wall when you're like, oh I just want to get to the top and put on a bigger jacket.
I'm like a bit less of a pansy, so
yeah, exactly.
I didn't mind the cold that much.
Whatever. You also had a better jacket.
I really appreciate the route.
And you're like so well insulated. You know.
I always say that.
Yeah, no, I always say that.
But whatever the reason, I quite like the route.